I love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
Hey guys, it's the Contender series, man. We're gonna try obliterate the Contender series again. My predictions were pretty okay last week. The only one I got wrong was the main event. I kinda see it going that way. You know, I kinda pictured it going that way, but the only difference is I expected it to be the other way around, right? But yeah, man, the prediction's pretty okay last Tuesday. I've done the research on this one and it's difficult to make the picks. Now, I haven't checked the betting lines yet, so I'm going to break them down, make my picks, and we're going to see which line is maybe good to play. Alright, man, let's jump in. Let's do it. Let's break them down. Alright, guys, we've got Patrik White taking on Genaro Valdez. So looking at Patrik White, he uses some nice forward pressure. You know, the pressure seems to be there. Looks to land a low kick over and over. But when you look at Patrik White's record, you know, the guys he's fighting, they're not high level. You know, there was one fight I was watching of Patrik White's and the opponent just kept turning his back. And I was thinking, what is going on here? You know, this guy shouldn't be inside the octagon, but hey, it's a free win for Patrik White, right? So yeah, the level of competition hasn't been great, but you're looking at what he does do and it's good forward pressure. Now, Genaro Valdez has been fighting in the Mexican scene. Yo, the Mexican fans are crazy, by the way. Really crazy. You know, you could put on the worst fight in Mexico and they're gonna go crazy still. I love it. But yeah, Genaro Valdez looks to grapple the opponent, wants to take him down, land some ground and pound. The level of competition, again, hasn't been great. I would say it's above what Patrik White has been fighting, but not by a lot, you know? Yeah, it's a difficult one to predict, in my opinion. I think if Patrik White can keep it standing, he might be able to use his length. And that's what I'm going to go with here. I'm going to say Patrik White, despite fighting horrible opposition, can maybe win this one if he keeps the fight standing. Genaro Valdez, this is going to be his best competition too. It's a pick 'em, man. I think Genaro probably wins if he can take it to the mat. If Patrik White can stand and trade, then it's potentially his fight to lose. I have seen Patrik White make a couple mistakes where he'll throw his punches and the glove doesn't return to the chin. So maybe Valdez can be the first to exploit that. But yeah, I'm gonna take Patrik White in this one. I would keep the betting line pretty close. Maybe put Valdez a slight favourite because he's been fighting better competition. But yeah, I'd still keep it close. And we've got Patrik White plus 300. So the bookies completely disagree with my breakdown. They're saying, yo, Valdez all day. All day here. I'm not too sure about that. Maybe if it goes to the mat, yeah, Valdez all day. But if it stays striking, you don't know, man. Patrik White, good forward pressure, pretty long. Yeah, that line is a little bit surprising. Alright, moving into Shonte Barnes taking on Joseph Holmes. Another difficult prediction to make, in my opinion. Now, Shonte Barnes likes to use good forward pressure, the way Patrik White would. But the difference between these two guys, Shonte Barnes will fire those 1-2s real quick. His boxing it's quick. You know, you can see that on the tape. So the better puncher out of Joseph Holmes and Shonte Barnes, I would give it to Shonte. Joseph Holmes has a pretty interesting octagon name. It's Ugly Man. So Joseph Ugly Man Holmes, which is hilarious, by the way. You know, that's up there with Slow Mike Rodriguez. But yeah, Joseph Holmes, man, seems to be a Muay Thai guy. He isn't boxing the opponent the way Shonte Barnes is. But he has got a few submission wins, you know, so he's showing how well-rounded his game is. He's a Muay Thai guy, so if the fight doesn't hit the mat, maybe he can keep it at range, land some kicks. I would say Joseph Holmes is the better kicker, but Barnes is the better boxer. So yeah, a difficult one to predict on the feet. My prediction is going to be the guy who I believe is more well-rounded, and that's Joseph Holmes. So maybe he has to use his grappling to get a contract. So yeah, I'll predict Joseph Holmes, just not super confident. Again, I would keep the lines pretty close. And the actual lines, we've got Joseph Holmes minus 400. My goodness, again, man, I mean, I'm taking the bookie side this time. But at minus 400, I'm not that heavy on Joseph Holmes. You know, what does minus 400 represent? 8 times out of 10. You know, does Joseph Holmes win this fight 8 times out of 10? Man, you'd have to be like the biggest Joseph Holmes supporter to say he wins this 8 times out of 10 or more. Yeah, I disagree with the line, but the pick is going to be Joseph Holmes. All right, moving into the next one. And again, man, this is another decent matchup. I give credit to Sean Shelby. If Sean Shelby is making these matchups, yo, Sean, hey, good matchmaking, my bro. And it's funny, man, because I was doing some research last night on the matchmakers job, and it said matchmakers, they don't get the credit for matchups that overachieve, but you remember the matchups that underachieve. And guys, last night, Thiago Santos and Johnny Walker, you know, Sean Shelby probably put that matchup together thinking, hey, I've done the UFC fans a solid on this one. Check this one out, fellas. And then you get 25 minutes of that, you know. But hey, Sean Shelby, man, putting together some nice matchups on the Contender series. Let's go. So we've got Joshua Weems taking on Fernie Garcia. All right, so starting with Joshua Weems. This guy's pretty decent. You know, his game looks pretty well rounded. If you take him to the mat, he's looking for submissions. He's looking to establish rubber guard. You know, his grappling seems to be okay in the jiu-jitsu sense. Now, his last fight was at Gamebred Promotions. You know, the Jorge Masvidal promotion. So, yeah, this guy's a bit of a dog too. He's going to stand and trade. The opponent, Fernie Garcia, training at Fortis MMA. You know, that's a top camp. If we're looking at the game of Fernie Garcia, it seems to be take down the opponent, and that's how we're going to win. You know, he's looking to use the wrestling, top control, ground and pound into a submission. Whatever it's got to be, Fernie Garcia looks to take down the opponent. Yeah, again, man, another really well put together matchup. I'm going to side with Joshua Weems. I think he's a little bit more well-rounded. You know, I've seen Joshua do some nice work with his jiu-jitsu, and his striking seems to be okay. Whereas on the flip side, if Fernie Garcia is left to strike in this matchup, I don't think he's going to do too well. And that's not to say that Fernie Garcia can't strike. I just don't think he's going to win the fight in a striking battle. You know, I think if Fernie Garcia gets a contract, it's grappling. And if Joshua Weems gets a contract, it's because he was able to compete with Fernie in the grappling, get back to the striking, and just show he's a higher level guy. Yeah, my numbers on this one, if this fight happened 10 times, I would say Joshua Weems maybe 6 times out of 10. So minus 150. And we've got Joshua Weems plus 200, which is 3 times out of 10. And I'm saying 6 times out of 10. So if I had to, you know, try to agree with the bookie a little bit more, but keep my own opinion, maybe 5 times out of 10. You know, at plus 200, man, I think if you're betting, the side is Joshua Weems. Yeah, a little bit surprised with that one. Joshua Weems, it has to be that pick. All right, moving into a matchup I'm a little bit more confident in. We've got Daniel Barez taking on Carlos Hernandez. All right, so starting with Daniel Barez. This guy has done some nice work. You know, the grappling, the striking, really well-rounded guy. But I do wonder why he's been off for nearly 2 years. On the flip side, you've got a pretty decent wrestler in Carlos Hernandez. But I do want to mention for Carlos Hernandez, if he isn't wrestling, this guy can strike. You know, go look at the fight against Trevor Wells. Some of the boxing combinations he puts together. And some of the punches that land really clean. You know, I'm surprised that Trevor Wells didn't go down in that fight. My prediction is going to be the same as pretty much the last breakdown. I think Daniel Barez is a well-rounded guy. You know, his takedown defense isn't great, but he is intelligent with his grappling. You know, he knows what's going on, and he looks to better his position every time he's taken down. And if he can take top control, you know, he's happy to prove that he can grapple on top too. You know, a well-rounded guy with some nice striking. But then again, you know, you could kind of say that for Carlos Hernandez too. He's proven that he can put together combinations and his grappling's okay. Man, I think it's just, you know, a Tuesday night banger. I'm going to slightly side towards Daniel Barez. My numbers, I'm going to put Daniel around minus 150, minus 160. And we've got both of these guys minus 110. So the bookies are like, hey, this is a banger, man. We don't really know. Make a pick. If you dare. Man, it's always if you dare on a Tuesday night, you know. Alright, my homies, main event. We've got Simon Smotritsky taking on Mike Malott. This is a good main event because if you look at the grappling of Smotritsky and then take a look at the grappling of Mike Malott, yeah, decent grapplers. The striking, if I had to predict who the better striker was, I would maybe say Smotritsky. But again, you know, Smotritsky is a grappler and Mike Malott is a grappler too. I was watching Mike Malott's last fight against a guy called, let me just check, Solomon Renfro. And inside those first 30 seconds, 40 seconds, Mike Malott looks like a deer in headlights, honestly. You know, Solomon Renfro landing some heavy bombs. And Mike Malott, the head movement wasn't there. The head was just staying on the centre line. But the fight didn't end that way. Mike Malott caught him with a nice timed punch and straight away jumps onto a rear naked choke. So you see that Mike Malott, if he does hurt you, it's a club and sub, right? He's not looking for ground and pound when he hurts you. He's simply looking to finish the fight. Now, Smotritsky hasn't been finished. 7 pro fights, 7 wins. My prediction on this one, guys, I'm going to say Simon Smotritsky is the more confident striker and the more confident grappler. The only way I really see Mike Malott winning is what I just said, club and sub. If he can hurt Simon on the feet and then sink in a choke, then maybe he can win this one. Or if Simon slows down outside of round 1, maybe Mike takes over with his grappling. But if Simon Smotritsky doesn't slow down outside of round 1, I think you're just going to see more confidence in his game. Whether he's striking on the feet, sending high kicks up top, or he's grappling against the fence or on the mat. I think Simon Smotritsky may be more confident as a fighter. So that's going to be my prediction. If I had to predict how many times Simon wins out of 10, I would say probably 6 times. Maybe 7 is being a little bit unfair. So I'll say 6. And we've got Smotritsky plus 140, plus 150, which is 4 times out of 10, according to the bookie. Alright, my homies, that's my Contender Series breakdown. As always, man, if you're betting on the Contender Series, don't go too crazy. And the reason why I say don't go too crazy is because it's a crazy show. Let the fighters go crazy and you just be composed with your betting. We know anything can happen in a fight, but with the Contender Series, it's like that gets amplified. And that's because these guys don't go in there to win decisions. They go in there to make statements. And if you're a fighter that wins a decision, chances are you're not going to get a contract. And the fighters know that too. And that's why it's toxic. That's why it's volatile. But as a fight fan, you love to see it on a Tuesday night, right? You love to see it. So yeah, guys, that's my predictions for the Contender Series. Make sure you drop your predictions below. And I'll catch you on the UFC card coming up. Alright, peace.